Tom, and maybe because they're really young, it doesn't matter, the wear and tear of traveling all the way from Hawaii back and stuff, is that much of an effect on?
Oh, no question. And it affects everyone, and that's why we've really tried to monitor what we're doing. And you have to get it out of them in the sense of helping them get back to normal. One of the things we did, I came back with Chuck on a red-eye Sunday morning, and the team got back Saturday night, and rather than have practice Sunday night, we had it Sunday at noon, right? Because, I mean, let's try our very best to get back to some semblance of getting up at East Coast Standard Time. So those type of things we try to do, and it's hard the first couple of days for them. I mean, we were over there a while. It's a tough time zone, and they got to get right back to school. So to me, it's important that they try to get some sort of normalcy, even though you know there really isn't going to be any. And you hope that by sometime tomorrow that they really feel back to normal. But they've practiced really well. They've been incredibly energetic. But there's no question they're still recovering from the travel, the time zones.
The jump in the polls, how, I know it's way early, but how, I don't know if satisfying is the word, but does that have any effect on?
No, I don't think so. No, I don't think, I'm not even completely sure what all those polls, I mean, where we're at in it, because it's just not, it's not anything we really talk about. I'm sure they know and are aware of it, and just like when guys get awards, they're aware and they know it, but that has no bearing on what it takes for us to improve. And I think the whole key that you want inside of your program is that the standards that they set are the most important standards, not the expectations on the outside or what somebody thinks or what somebody writes in a poll, or votes in a poll, I should say, but that the standards that they set, and how can we keep getting better. And we just try to stay as absolutely centered and focused on that as we possibly can.
You mentioned yesterday that you felt that there were some people who slept on Curtis, I guess, as a prospect coming up. Did you mean that in a recruiting sense, or maybe just in like a game plan sense?
No, not a game plan sense at all. No, I don't know about recruiting. I just think more, you know, with the national rankings and things of that nature, and he was surrounded by some other good players. That's what it was. But we've had numerous guys. I mean, if we say they slept on Curtis, I mean, then they were Rip Van Winkle on OG, right? I mean, it's just kind of a point of reference that I'm not sure he got the respect. And OG came on the scene a little bit later, but Curtis has been on that scene a little bit, and I think he's got some high-level talent, but he's also got a real toughness, and he's played in some big games. And with that being said, he's got a long way to go to get better, and we just pointed a lot of that out on the film. But to me, the most important thing is that he's played in those big games over a period of time in high school and AAU. He's been in some big environments, not a bigger one than he was in the other day. But that stuff has helped prepare him. And he's a very poised, centered person. And we have nothing to do with that. That's all his family. You know, all we want to do is continue to expand it, all right, and enhance it. But we've really got some excellent young men. And we just want to do the very best job we can do with helping them grow. And Curtis is just like that. Good, Jeff.
With Juwan getting 10 boards, going back and watching it, it looked like some of them were pretty competitive situations. How much better was he rebounding than last year after you went back and watched it? Or what,
I wouldn't be able to compare it to last year. I think he's always been pretty aggressive. I mean, he's working very hard on the rebounding. He does so many things. He does so many things that they're a huge part of success. You know, whether it's rotations defensively, whether it's being in the right spot when they're running the ball screen on the ball side and he's on the weak side, you know, moving the ball. And again, he's a guy that he's played as little as, when it comes to contact, as any of them, with the exception of Freddie. So it's going to take even more time for him to get that much more comfortable with it. But as far as aggressiveness, rebounding, defensively, I picked the tape apart a couple of times. I can't even remotely come close to telling him what he did wrong on a couple of those drives where he was called for fouls. I mean, he couldn't have played it any better. And so those are the type of things. But with that being said, our message to the team is you have no control over how the game is going to be called. You have no control over what the other team is going to do. You have every bit of control as to the effort and the execution that you're going to make. And to make as few mental errors and critical mistakes as possible, and do as many momentum changing things as you can, and that's usually comes from being in the right spot at the right time more often than not, and Jawan is like that.
Coach, after looking at the film for the Kansas game, what's maybe one or two things that you think your team can really improve upon, going into this week?
Going into this week, well, there's a huge list on both sides, but if I had to pinpoint it, I'd say our communication on screens has got to be better, and I would say our hand activity, being even more active with our hands, and not let our deflection numbers, which were pretty high, be misleading to the fact that we can get even more aggressive with our hands. Offensively, we can find the post better, and we can move on the weak side without the ball better. And there's obviously a lot of things, but those would be how I'd answer your question.
So just when it comes to the fouls, like you talked about the fouls against in the last games, not understanding where they came from. I guess how long does it take to kind of get a true sense of what's going to be called and what's not?
It's game by game. I mean, I think it truly is. I mean, it's supposed to be a certain way, and you hope that it's going to be. And I said this earlier on the show today. I think the bottom line is in these games, as long as the communication is strong, and not between player and referee. Though you hope that if they have a question, they can get it answered in a civil way if they're asking it in a civil way. But coach to referee, we're all going to need to be on the same page as to what it is. And I think you have to go into each game trying to figure out, how it's going to be called in that game. But I certainly hope that we get better from game 1 to game 2, and I certainly hope the referees in that game get better from game 1 to game 2. And that's just the way that it is. But you'd want that from every perspective. So again, like I said, I'm no closer to understanding how the game was officiated. I mean, what a foul was on verticality versus what it wasn't from that game. And I don't know how Bill or any of the other coaches feel. But again, it's new rules, and that takes time. And I have that is no disrespect towards the officials whatsoever, okay, at all, and none whatsoever. It's a matter of really learning and understanding the rules. But you want everybody to improve.
What did you think of Josh in his first regular season action with you guys?
Got to be better defensively. Did a great job of attacking. Missed some shots that he would make. Played with some veteran savvy for a guy that hadn't played in a long time. Did a very good job with that, but he can get a lot better. And he can get a lot better defensively. He can get a lot better with his ball pressure. He can get a lot better getting the ball up the court even faster. He can get a lot better moving without the ball. And we've worked really hard, again, being back home on the shooting, his catch and shoots, things like that. Just really trying to help him continue to improve. We've had a lot of great work with these guys since we've been back, and with individuals in practice. The practices haven't been long in duration. Yesterday was, but today was very short. The film session was longer than the practice. So to me, it's just a matter of just continuing to improve.
With him specifically, I mean, do you feel like he kind of knows what he's supposed to do, he's seeing what he's supposed to, and he's just kind of maybe getting his body to catch up to his mind a little bit?
No, I think it's all of that. I think it could be all of that. He's learning a lot about moving without the ball. I don't think he realizes just yet how much more athletic he is than what he was. And so we see flashes of it. You saw flashes of it in one of the exhibitions. What game did he have the block in the dunk? Yeah, I mean, so you see flashes of it. But I mean, he was at the rim so quick the other day. I mean, you're not gonna shoot a layup off the backboard, like he did very often. I mean, he was there. And so I think sometimes it takes guys when they haven't played a lot, it takes time for them to get used to their bodies. Their bodies change here. They change everywhere, but they really change here. And James Blackman is a different athlete. He's separated, you didn't ask this question, but he's separated off the dribble the other day as good as he has since he's been in Indiana. And that's something that we're working constantly to do. And it's got to become something that becomes very consistent for him. He's more of an athlete now. He can stretch out even more. So a lot of it's that, it's the body, it's the movement, and it's going to take a while. I know we won the game against a great team and all that, but when I watch the film, it's going to take a while for us all to really get to understand how to play with each other in 5-on-5 settings. It really is. Because there are just certain things that players get, with the cutting and the movement and the and just the synergy that they have on the court together. that takes time, and that's why I think we'll get better and better, on both ends as we go, because that will come alive. We don't have a summer and a fall of us all playing a lot of 5-on-5 together and really going through the peaks and the valleys that provides sometimes.
Last question, Stu. You talked about on your radio show last night, James not showing much timidness, coming back from.
Didn't show any, yeah.
Any whatsoever.
Yeah.
I mean, what during the rehabilitation and recovery process from surgery kind of prepared him to the point where he didn't really show any?
Well, you would think after 3 that if there was going to be any, that would be the time it would come. But he never showed it. Well, I wasn't with him in high school when he had one, but he's never showed any here. And I think that's just who he is. I mean, and I think he's surrounded by people that have a lot of confidence. He's surrounded by family that's confident. He's been born and raised in a confident level. But to come back from 3 surgeries is hard. I mean, I can't imagine it. But it's just, that's why every one of them, I mean, it was an emotional thing seeing those guys play that way based on the fact of what they have gone through. And in James's case, he's a product of his family, right? And all we've tried to do again is just keep making them better and better at those type of things. But he's got a toughness mindset. He felt very confident. We knew when he got hurt last year, when the tests were done, okay, his legs are strong. So, I mean, it'd be different if there's issues with his legs or different with other parts of his body. His legs were very strong, which was going to enable him in his rehab with that knee, and he could get stronger, right? So those type of things play in. So there's no fragileness to his body, which means there's gladly no fragileness to his mind of how he should be coming back. So he'll get better and better. I mean, he really will. He'll get better and better. You had one, go ahead. Only because you're wearing a Ravens sweatshirt.